So Matt, a little bit of a disappointing result, but we fought very hard today. 2-0 up very quickly at the start of the match. What's your thoughts on the first half, especially going that early up?
I thought we started the game really well, obviously. 2-0 up inside 6 minutes away from home. And then in fairness to Faversham, they were better than us for a large portion of the first half. To be honest, I thought we probably paid them too much respect. Didn't quite get what we wanted out of the game tactically, certainly from a defensive point of view. And we'd spoken about obviously their strengths and obviously their weaknesses, and I felt we sort of exploited their weaknesses in the first 2 goals, and then they obviously showed what they're good at, and obviously the lad Wood's a good player, but I thought we showed them far too much respect in the early stages of the first half. And then in fairness, the goals, they're typical Faversham goals, set pieces. They're difficult to play against. They're big and strong. They cause us issues at our ground, and they're the same again today. And I thought the goals we've conceded today are just so avoidable. At this level of football, you've got to be able to cope with it. And it's something that's setting us a little bit backwards, because I think we've been really good of late, and we've come up against some teams that are good set piece wise, particularly like Virginia Water. If you go back to that game, it was like an onslaught. We just didn't cope with it today at all. And they've scored all their goals in and around the 6-yard box, and tap-in second phases. And yeah, it was just disappointing. Like I said, we started like a house on fire, and you've really got to then expect us to grab the ball by the horn and make sure that we're not conceding those type of sloppy goals. You'd expect that to be a real sort of, you grab hold of that at 2-0 and sort of make sure that doesn't happen. But disappointing from that side.
Yeah, obviously coming into the second half, I didn't think we slowed off very much on the gas. I think everyone around the pitch, from the midfield to the defence to up front, put a lot of effort in and managed to get a goal back, obviously, for Grant later on at the end. You know, do you reckon we could have done a bit more before then?
Yeah, I think so. I think again in the second half we started okay. Again, football's a harsh game, but we can't be conceding from a long ball from the halfway line. It's gone over a centre half set, it's hit the other centre half. Then the first guy that's missed the ball, their players taps it in. Like, that can't happen. And as harsh as that might be, that's not acceptable. If you want to challenge in and around the top end of the table, we just said to the players, like, we've been brilliant of late, and we can't fault the players. But then you can't throw a game away like that if you want to be considered in contention for getting in and around the plus, which is where we want to be. There's no hiding from that. That's where we want to be. And ultimately, we've conceded too many goals this season. And it doesn't matter what partnership plays, what combination we seem to have. That type of goal has been what we've been giving away. Balls going over centre half set has been a continuous theme, and it's happened again today. And it's cost us ultimately their fourth goals cost us the game, because I felt that our changes from the bench in terms of Ronald coming on, Adem coming on, Nico coming on, it always was going to give us more legs and some more energy, and we knew that would be the case. Harvey coming on at half-time, because he was obviously late to the game today due to a traffic incident. I thought we showed loads and loads of energy for the last sort of half an hour of the game, but you can't be conceding 4 goals prior to then doing that. You've gone 2-0 up, and then ended up, we've come away from home, scored 3 goals. We should be getting something from the game. Like that's a fact. And I think that's the disappointing thing. You can't go too hard on the players because they have been good, but at the same time, we've got to go hard enough that they understand that that's not good enough for where we want to be. And that's the kind of balancing act that myself and Coyley have got at the moment, is we're desperately trying to keep the players upbeat and obviously continuing on the forward curve where we have been. And you're coming away from, look, Tommy and Obi have been here sort of 18 months now. They've built their team. They've got a lot of experience here. They've got some good players. You have to give them credit as well. But from our side, if you look at the goals we conceded, they're just not acceptable. And we've been really good defensively. We've kept a few clean sheets recently. We've dealt with various different types of play. But you're playing against a 2 up front today with 3 midfield players that run off them, and they're difficult to play against. But they haven't really opened us up, barring a sort of 10-minute period where we couldn't get to grips with Wood. Other than that sort of 10-minute period, they've relied on set pieces and balls in our box, and fair play. So disappointing.
Yeah, coming back to Wood, I think Jaden really well dealt with Wood today, especially running back and forth. I think he didn't stop, and especially in that later part of the game, he seemed to have a little bit of a trickier time where he dealt with him very well. Your thoughts on Jaden?
Look, I just said to Jaden after the game, this is a real big learning day for Jaden. I thought first 15-20 minutes we were keeping him in because we know how they play, and they play with a very narrow wide players. They play as 3 10s in their midfield with a sitter, and it's difficult to play against if your fullbacks don't go and engage. And in the first 15-20 minutes, centre halves are keeping the fullbacks in with them, which is not what we'd said, and that allows Wood to then get head up. He can turn, he can run it, he can pop it off, little 1-2s, he gets off the back of you, and he shouldn't be playing at this level really, particularly on the 3G pitches. He's hard to play against, but once Jaden got that tactical understanding right, and he went in with him and he marked him and he got tight. I thought he had the better of him for large periods. Certainly in the second half, once we got it, we changed it tactically. Well, we didn't change it, but we got the players to understand a little bit better at half time what we was expecting. And I don't really remember him causing too many problems in the second half against Jaden at all. Same with Hassler, with Gerald. He's hit a 60-yard ball in behind Jaden for one, I think it's the second goal. That didn't happen in the second half. So Jaden didn't get caught in behind. Gerald got tight, so we got that right. But I think that's the difficulty of having a new group. Lots of information to try and get into them. The Christmas period, not being able to train fully. But that's all just making excuses at the end of the day. Like we know we've got to do that. We've got to do better defensively. If you're coming away, you score 3 goals, you expect to get something. But I think the supporters have still seen. I mean, it's fantastic. Like, the support is just unreal today. Like, it's the first time we've come away from home, and it's been really, really noisy. And long may that continue. Like, we've got to thank the fans for coming out, and it's disappointing not to give them something. But they can see the team's trying. Like, the team works hard, the team's aggressive, the team wants to play for the club. We've got a great set of lads, but ultimately, we need to be coming away from these games with some points, and that's where we've looked at what we want to bring different to the last maybe couple of years, is that we don't want that to be acceptable and it be unlucky, Whitstable. We want it to be, no, we're disappointed that we ain't come away from something. We need to be getting points against these teams that are at the top of the table, and we should be challenging these, because as a football club we're as big as Faversham, fan base wise, football club wise, 3G wise, youth section wise. So that's why I'm frustrated and disappointed, because I'm not accepting that these are really good and they got good finances and a good team and a good manager and etc, etc. We're the same. So that's the disappointing thing, and I think that's the mentality we need to get across to the players, that these are the games that we expect to come and get something. We do.
Yeah, and looking ahead, obviously you've got the FA Vars game coming up, as well as obviously a nice run of league games, especially some of them at home that are coming up. What's your thoughts going into those, you know?
Yeah, look, we've got some great games coming up. Games you want to be involved in. We've kept the season fully alive. Look, with our games in hand, we've still got a massive chance of getting where we want to get in the league. We've obviously got a quarter-final of the Cup to come and play here again, which is going to be another great occasion on a Saturday, which is hopefully get another big crowd. We go away in the FA Vars. Again, it's a great experience for us as a new group getting together. But we don't want to come out at the end of January out of both cup competitions and sitting in the middle of the table. We've got to make sure come the end of January we're touching distance of the playoffs, because that's where we need to be. We're not quite halfway through the season yet, as mad as it is in the league. We haven't even quite got to the halfway stage yet. We've only played 18 games, so I think we've got another game or two till we're halfway through. So we need to make the second half of the league season better than it's been in the first half. So that's the truth of the matter. And we want to be coming here and beating these in the quarterfinals to get through to the semi-final, because the draw, whoever goes through out of us two, there's some real opportunity to get to a cup final there. And the same with the Vars. Like, it's a great opportunity, but we've got a lot of games in January, so we're going to need a healthy sized squad that we've got at the moment. We need to keep competition for places higher. The players are going to have to understand they're going to come in and out of the team, so we're going to keep having to freshen it up. But it's exciting. This is an exciting month. What we've got to make sure is that February is just as exciting. So we've got a lot of work to do together as a group. But we've got a good squad. We've got some good players. There's still a little bit of understanding that needs to come. And we just got to stick together now. Like I say, we've been on we beat VCD in the Cup. Obviously, we've beaten Jersey Bulls, who were the favourites for the Vars. We've beaten Kennington, that hadn't lost for 6 games. We've beaten here from Belvedere, that were on a good run. And we've come away from home to potentially the title favourites and lost narrowly. But that's the bit that I want to get over the hurdle of. I want it that this needs to be us. This needs to be us, as Whitstable need to be at this, where everyone wants to beat us and we're sat at the top of the table and we're the ones that people are fearing, and that's the bit that we've got to get to, and that's the bit that will take a little bit longer. But like I say, that's where we want to be, and that's where we need to be as a club.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much, Matt, for talking to us.
No worries. Thanks very much.
Good luck for next week.
Lovely. Thanks a lot.